So I want to tell you a little bit more about this idea of chaos. So here's the schema. You have the archetypal sun, and we'll get to why it's masculine and not feminine. And that's also taken me a long time to crack, because the women in this class have always asked me, well, the hero in mythological stories is male, where does that leave women? And I never knew what to say about that exactly. You can look at Sleeping Beauty, for example, that story. And Sleeping Beauty is rescued by a prince. And you can think of that prince at two levels of analysis simultaneously. You can think about it as an actual male who plays that role, but you can also think about it as the exploratory, assertive, and courageous part of the feminine psyche that's necessary to bring unconsciousness up into consciousness. And the story works perfectly across both those levels of analysis. And that is the classic way, I would say, of explaining this particular mode of representation. So this map isn't predicated on the Beauty and Beast story, and I don't know what to do about that at the moment. But whatever, we're going to go with this map for the time being, because it's been the dominant one. You have the archetypal son, who's hero and adversary. That's Cain versus Abel, for example. It's Abel versus Cain, hero versus adversary. And then that dyad, that hostile brothers, that's the motif, mythological motif that lays out. It's a very common mythological motif. That's nested inside the social order of order versus tyranny, and that's nested inside the destruction and creation of nature. And then all of that is nested inside the dragon of chaos. And so it's interesting, because you say, this is the entity that knows, and that's the hero. And then you have the structure within which that entity is operating. And then you have the unknown. It's the son, it's the father, it's the mother. The mother stands for chaos, but outside of that there's this additional chaos that's paradoxical. And you might say, well, why do you need to have two kinds of chaos? And that's where things get ridiculously complicated. The littler chaos is what's defined in relationship to what you already know. So it's manageable in some sense. It's that which, combined with what you already know, can bring something forth. There's a sexual metaphor in that. You take what you know, you take something you don't know, you put them together. This isn't enough to overwhelm this, and this isn't enough to suppress this. The two come together in a creative union, and something new is born from it. So that's the Holy Father, the Holy Mother, bang, and the hero that emerges out of that. Okay, but then there's the chaos that's so overwhelming that it just demolishes everything. And it's the ultimate source of what's known and what's unknown in relationship to what's known and the knower itself. And that's symbolized by this dragon of chaos. And I'm going to show you another way of thinking about it.